Welcome back to It's Your Environment. I'm George Curtis, and we have a new guest, Craig Cichanofsky.
Hi,
Welcome.
George. Welcome. Thank
You are the lucky hunter.
I am the lucky hunter, yes.
You got the big one.
I did. Thanks to Mike Foss and Northern Wisconsin Outfitters, everything came together.
Well, I've been hunting and fishing long enough and practicing law almost as long. I don't think there's such a thing as luck. It's about preparation, isn't it?
It is. Mike and his guides put a lot of time into putting those baits out there. I've actually went up there a couple times over the summer and helped him do some baiting just to see what the experience was all about. And it's work. It's just not having a fun day in the woods. It's humping to one bait to another.
Well, I'm reminded of when I was in Alaska and I was fishing a stream, and the stream was full of dolly varden trout, but I wasn't catching any, and I came across an old timer, and I could see he had about 15 pounds of dolly varden that he was trying to hide from me along with the bait he was using, and I tried to see his bait, and I said, "Any luck?" He said, "No, just skill." And I suspect that that's pretty much how life works. But you've got an interest in hunting a long time before this event took place. What other kinds of hunting have you done, and from what age?
I started off with my dad back when I was 10, 12 years old. And he bringing me through the ranks, sitting with him, doing the whole works, and it's been quite the experience. I mean, just going through whitetail, jumping into turkey hunting, getting into fly fishing, now bear hunting. I mean, it's been a cool experience.
Well, we're in a great state.
We are.
We have such a variety of land, a lot of it public land. I hope that the next generation appreciates what we have. If they don't, they're going to lose it.
Exactly.
And the wonderful north area, up where Mike guides in Bayfield County,
Yes.
that is just so precious.
It is. In fact, I've been hunting up there now going on 6 years, knowing Mike for 5 of those 6. And I've seen the neatest things. I've seen a timber wolf in the wild, which not a lot of people say they can see. Seen a lot of quality whitetail up in that area. And now bear. I mean, it's got it all.
Have you seen the increase in the number of bear I've been reading about?
I actually sat with a hunter opening night, and I'll kind of get into the story a little bit now, but Tuesday night before, it opened on the 16th of September. Tuesday night before, we knew the winds weren't going to be correct for the Snaggle Tooth bait and what Mike was going to put me on. So he asked me, he said, Craig, I'm not going to put you on that bait. He said, the wind's not right. And in being the hunter that I am and being into the bow hunting, I understand the wind. I understand the concept. So I'm like, yep, Mike, I get it. He says, so to kind of get your anxiety out of the way, I'm going to have you sit with one of the hunters. And I did. I got to sit with him on that Wednesday night. So I got there to experience. We've seen 3 different bear on that bait that night. And it's only probably about 300 yards where I deer hunt. So yeah, I am starting to see the influx in the bear.
And of course, like any experienced wildlife person, you don't shoot everything you see.
No.
In fact, very often some of the best hunters I know go through an entire season where they have many animals that they could harvest, and they don't, because that isn't exactly what they're after.
Exactly.
They realize that the decision to make it a sport is up to the person that has the firearm.
Exactly.
And you don't kill anything just to kill it.
Right, exactly. And that's how I always when I was growing up, that's how I was always told. If you're gonna harvest that animal, or what, being a chickadee to even a whitetail, my dad, he made me eat it, even if it was a chickadee or if it was a whitetail. So he got me that concept down, that I'm just not gonna harvest something to harvest it. It was there for a purpose, and it's for feeding the family. And so that kind of, tells the story right there.
Well, how did you persuade Mike Foss that you would get the snagglefoot stand?
Back in the springtime, I was hauling bait up to Mike, and he approached me aside. He goes, "How would you like to hunt Snaggletooth? How would you like me to put you on that stand?" I said, "Mike, it'd be an honor." Knowing that the chances of Snaggletooth coming in, is going to be slim to none. But just the opportunity to have, knowing that an animal like that could come in for me to harvest, especially such a legend that it is right now that Mike's been writing about for the last 5+ years, it was just an honor.
Well, I've been reading about it, and Dick Ellis is on Wisconsin Outdoors ever since that paper came out. And
Yes.
Tell us a little bit how you were feeling and what happened when that bear came in.
Well, like I was going back before about the wind situation, sitting with that hunter the night before took care of a lot of the anxiety. And Mike and I got together the next morning and said, you know, how do you want to work this out? When do you want to go sit? And I said, well, Mike, we've been baiting this bear now anywhere between 9 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, so why don't we go ahead and do the 2 men in, 1 guy out. So let's go in and bait it. I'll go in when you bait. I'll climb up the stand, and you give me I'll give you the thumbs up when I'm ready to go, and you can leave. So I actually got in that stand at 10 a.m. in the morning, and so I sat all day with no bear, seen a bunch of red squirrels, a lot of birds, 1 buck coming in, and there's a tangled old wild apple tree down there. Got to see a little buck, which was kind of cool. Passed the time away, and then I was literally, George, grabbing for the rope. It was getting to that point. I looked at my watch. It was about 7:15. I literally, the shooting time, because at Mike's camp they stress shooting time, your shooting hours, and mine was 7:19. It was 7:15 when I looked at my watch. I'm thinking, oh, well, okay, next time, you know. I was literally grabbing for the rope, George, to pull it out, and all of a sudden I said, okay, Mike told me patience, just be patient. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to sit here just a little bit longer. And all of a sudden, out of the left side, I don't know what happened, I could hear some grunting coming in. And if I didn't sit with that hunter the night before, I'd never known what that grunt was. And the first thing that came to my mind was a bear. I heard a grunting coming in just off to the left of me, about 15 yards. All of a sudden I looked, there he was. And I thought, when I harvested this animal, I thought 99% sure it was Snaggle Tooth, just based off the size. He was big. And when he came in, what I did is, I knew he was coming in, put my gun on the bait pile and picked out a log in the bait pile with my scope. And as soon as I seen his front shoulder coming in, I put it to the vitals, squeezed, 1 shot, it went down. And I said, I just shot Snaggle Tooth.
Were you shaking?
You know what, George? I didn't have time to do that. I really didn't. I was excited, and I had so many things going through my head at that time. It's just a lot of thoughts, a lot of different thoughts. I just shot Snaggle Tooth. I need to get down. I need to go get Mike. You know, it's just all those little different thoughts coming into play, you know.
Did you have a cell phone so you could call Mike and tell him?
Unfortunately, up in Washburn, Wisconsin, there's not much for cell phone service, but as soon as I got to a certain point, my Uncle Dave was the first one I called. And I told him I just shot Snaggle Tooth.
What an exciting story. We're going to have to take our second break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about where hunting fits in terms of wildlife management and how responsible hunting is an important management tool. But congratulations.
Thanks, George. I appreciate it.